Good morning. Good morning from Melbourne, Australia. Good evening to friends in North America, and hello to anyone watching on replay. My name is Nancy Hetker, and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Melbourne, Australia. And today I'm going to be doing my first play with the Brightest Beauty bundle. But first I wanted to remind you that the Fitting Florets collection is now available to order. You've seen me play with this before. I think I used it last week. And it is absolutely gorgeous. I am really thrilled that I have it. I wanted to point out that the Framed Florets bundle, the Framed Florets stamp set and the Framed Florets dies are going to be in the upcoming January to June 2023 mini catalog. But the Fitting Florets paper, the Framed and Festive stamp set, and the Gold Swirls embellishments are only going to be available until the 4th of January or while supplies last. So the papers are just yummy, yummy, yummy. I've enjoyed playing with them in the last week a whole lot. So I do encourage you to go ahead and purchase the whole collection. And yeah, it's available through my Stampin' Up! Store, and there are links everywhere that you look for Nancy's Nifty Notes. You'll find all of my links into my store. So this is the bundle I'm going to play with today. Hello, Gladys. Thanks for joining me today. This is in the July to December 2022 mini catalog. It's page 60. I think it's easy to flip right by it. Somehow it doesn't really pop, especially with all the other holiday type stuff. But it is perfect for those of us here in Australia because it is a picture of a variety of acacia, is what we would call it in the US. It's wattle here in Australia, which is our national flower, which is very fun. And it blooms in springtime. So it's really past its peak. National Wattle Day is like September 1st. But I was a little slow on the uptake, so we're playing with it today. Yeah, I think it's very pretty, and I have a vision in mind, so I have some things prepared. Always a good thing. So yeah, it comes stamp set, photopolymer stamp set, and coordinating dies. And again, there's an outline die to go with the stamped image, and then it has some nice shaped and embossed dies that you can do a different type of look of wattle. So I'm going to set those aside. I have what I need. I'm actually going to start, I think, I've been going back and forth on this, so we're going to try it, and if I don't like it, it's just a little piece of white paper. But I'm going to start by blending on some Parakeet Party ink, I believe. And let's see how that goes here. And not always... Sometimes when I'm doing these visions and I got a lot of competing ideas, I have to sort out which ones are actually worth doing and going to work and all of that. So we'll see how this goes. We have had a little resurgence of wintry weather here. Well, pretty cold, yeah. Yesterday was Melbourne Cup Day, which is an official public holiday here, although it's one that seems to have varying amounts of buy-in. For instance, where Glenworks was technically open but a lot of people worked from home yesterday or did whatever. It's an academic office. They do whatever anyway. Okay, so I did a little bit of sort of ombre on here. Oh, I still wanted this. Anyhow, Melbourne Cup Day is for this big, it's like the Kentucky Derby. It's like the biggest horse race of the year, at least if you're in Victoria. But it's a whole week of lots of races and lots of different theme days at the race course. And at least to me, it seems like it's always colder than ideal and a lot wetter. It's like, haven't you figured out in the spring it's cold and wet? So yes, yesterday it was very cold and very wet. Okay, I want to do some of these triangular graphic blobs on here, and I'm doing them in full strength parakeet party. I'm going to stop there for right now. I can always go back and add more. And today it's going to be chilly also. And then it's supposed to warm up again quite a bit. And by early next week, it's going to feel like, not quite summer, but early summer. Okay, I'm going to set that one aside for a moment. And I'm going to bring in a bigger piece of basic white, and I'm going to stamp the big wattle flower, wattle branch. This one I'm doing in Granny Apple Green. So it's a little bit darker than the Parakeet Party, but I think it's going to be nice. And I'm using these light, bright greens again because springtime. Yeah. My initial thought was to go for like old olive and pear pizzazz, but I thought, you know, let's brighten it up because springtime, new growth, nice and bright. And then I'm going to bring in, here we go, close that up. This has a flower fill, and acacias or wattles have these fluffy puffball flowers much of the time. We had them in Arizona, and they're just so sweet smelling. And here and in Arizona, the First Nations people use the seeds. They have these long seed pods, and they're used as a food source. They are pleasantly, well, they're just yummy. They're like any other bean type of thing. Ooh, I'm pleased with how that lined up. There we go. And that's just Daffodil Delight. I'm pretty darn pleased with that. Hi, Paula. Thanks for joining me. I'm playing with a new to me bundle called Brightest Beauty, and it features this wattle plant image. They're known as acacias in the US. Now I'm going to cut that out, and I will bring my cut and emboss machine in. And the die. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And then I'm gonna do a sentiment. I always think these little strips are cut straight, and then sometimes it's like, well, maybe not that straight. Okay, so I'm gonna bring my Granny Apple Green back in, and I have this sentiment from the set which says, wishing you a happy retirement. And the thing I found with photopolymer sentiments is that you really just want to touch on there, press very lightly. If you squish it too far, then the photopolymer, it's a soft material and it sort of spreads out and you get a very, not blotchy, slightly distorted, I just call it blort image. And it's not as crisp as it might be. So I'm going to try snipping kind of like that on an angle. Okay, let's see what we've got for putting together for our sentiment, for our cards. So I made a frame, and I did that with 2 of the stitched rectangle dies, and I just nested them. I skipped one size to make that frame. Ran that through the die cutting machine, and I've got foam adhesive strips on the back, and I've got a crumb cake base and a Granny Apple Green layer. So I'm gonna just play with this for a moment and see if I like where it's headed. And remember, this is the piece that I used my blending brush and Parakeet Party to sort of ombre up, and then added the Parakeet Party triangle blotches, if you will. And I want that in the frame. And then this is also in the, this piece is also in the Golden Beauty dies. It's this sort of fancy frame piece, and this is very modern and very kind of clean. So I'm just going to play with this here for a moment and see if I actually like it on that piece or not. Yeah, I'm going to keep that to the side for the moment. I'm undecided about that. This, however, I am going to go ahead and layer up. Now, the one thing that I am aware of, which is just fine, it's just something to be aware of, is that these adhesive foam strips, at least the batches I've ever bought, are just a little bit thicker than our Stampin' Dimensionals, which in a way today is going to be kind of a cool thing, because I'm going to do it this way, I think, so I can see where I'm going. Maybe see where I'm going. Because it's going to be kind of nice to have the frame a little higher than the wattle, I think. Let's see how we did. Yep. So I'm going to put this on. Some glue. This I'm going to set, I'm thinking, with my technical term, cattywampus. Like the whole thing is cattywampus here. Yeah, like a shadow box, exactly. Still playing with whether I like that. Yeah, I'm liking it more as I look at it. Sorry, just I have a quick look at another option here. Maybe too thin. Hold on. Yeah, one more. Okay, that's too small, so not that one. Come here. You like this one? The label or the banner? The label? I can do that. Trying to figure out with or without a bow. Uh-oh. One said banner, one said both. That's the label. Oops, not that one. That's the banner. So this one, Paula? Ah, okay. Oh my goodness, it all just keeps moving every time I touch it. The decorative one, yeah. Okay, so we're doing that. Okay, let's get it going here. I think we're gonna do that flat. And get some mini dimensionals on here. Okay, so that is just, it's hard to see, but it is just slight, it is elevated from the back, but it's just slightly under the frame, which is kind of an effect I like, actually. And now we're gonna see if we can get this on the way I want. And I have a little piece of, there we go. This is the foam adhesive strip. So it's the same height as the frame. So I can slide that in there. Really, I don't want it. There we go. And I like, when I have these really tiny knots, I just roll up my glue dot, really. And I'm gonna take my pokey tool and just kind of stick it kind of down in under there. Maybe trim that a little bit. Clear off here and look at it for a moment. I like to look at it on camera with you guys because I actually get a better sense of it. Oh, you can hear the wind? Yeah. Yeah. Fortunately, it's really died back since, especially 2 days ago. It was bad. Hello, Roseanne. I'm so glad you joined me. Yeah. So I'm thinking about some embellishments. And I'm thinking of maybe a couple of these little butterflies. Really? Come on. Yeah. So, I'm pleased with that. I like that a lot. So, thank you for joining me with all this. Thanks for your input. And yeah, in the end, that one worked. It's got the right amount of crumb cake showing. These two were too small, and the ornateness of it doesn't really stand out a whole lot. So it worked well. What else did I want to tell you about? Oh, I know. Next week, those of you in North America, your clocks are changing on Sunday. So the time that I'm on for you will change, except for Roseanne in in Arizona, where you don't change clocks. But if your clocks change, I will probably be on an hour different. But there's a link in my blog to let you look at where that is. And I will try to I probably won't do a reminder about the clocks changing. I don't want to confuse people here in Australia. So, just take a look for it. I always post when it's 2 hours ahead, that I'll be going live in 2 hours. So if you're not quite sure, you can always check that. So, yes, poll working. Good for you, Paula. Good for you. My ballot is long since submitted to Arizona. That is the craziest thing for that state. In a thing full of craziness around elections, they make voting by mail and voting from abroad super, super easy. I can submit by email. I'm so grateful for that. Because people are doing backflips to get their ballots in on time from here, especially during the pandemic when the mail service was so slow. But anyhow, thank you for working the polls, Paula, and fingers crossed for good outcomes in all races. And I will see you all same time for me, same place next week. See you then. Bye-bye.